Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of TerraTech. And on tonight's episode, we are going to be continuing where we left off. Now, for those of you who may have missed the last few episodes, we have been building some new bots, and tonight's episode is no different. I have come in here and I have built myself a venture bot, because some of you have said that you wanted to see more venture designs. It does take a second for it to load in, because I have a lot of bots in this game. Some of them are really big, including the one not too far off to our distance. You can see him out there in the sunset. He is a very, very large Ratchet bot from Ratchet and Clank, or at least as close as I could get to him. You'll see what's left of my helicopter over there on the right hand side and what is left of my airplane right there on the left. This bot, however, is all venture except for the base pieces, and that's just because they don't always have all the base pieces in the venture company itself, and at least not yet. Maybe one day you'll have the conveyor belts and the recyclers and things of that sort in a version of it with the ventures, but for now kind of have to use those. So what I ended up doing here, let me show you guys in detail, and then we'll get out there in the world and actually try it out for the very first time, is I put these large GSO receivers. Now these things will pick up blocks, whereas the small ones will not. However, right now in the game, you cannot use conveyors to carry blocks like you used to. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to change again, if they're going to bring that back. I hope they do, because it's going to make building these things a lot more efficient and a lot easier. But for now, these large receivers have to be connected directly to the scrappers. Otherwise, the blocks will just sit on them and not go anywhere. But once they're on there, in fact, I can show you guys right here the way it's going to work, is we'll throw down a few of these things, and they'll snag them right off the bat, take them into the scrapper, and then they will go down these little conveyors right here, and they will go through the filter, or the refineries. They will be refined into new resources. You can see they actually give off a little bit of light. Of course, it is nighttime, so some of these are just turning their lights on for the very first time. They go down the center, and they eventually come over here to the venture delivery cannons. Now, the difference between the venture delivery cannons and the GSO ones are these things hold on to the items a lot stronger. So if you're going really, really fast, these things will still be able to sell. They won't go flying off behind your bot. Whereas the GSO ones, they sell faster, but they don't hold on to them as hard. So if you're going really fast, you're going to see them fly off your bot. You have to go back and scoop them back up. So there is a difference between those. The same thing for the GSO receivers. If you're using the small ones, they don't hold on to them really tight, but they do hold on to, I believe, 3 at a time, whereas the venture ones only hold on to 1, but they hold on to them a lot tighter. So depending on, you know, are you creating a speed demon, or are you creating a very slow but nimble I don't know, like a base bot, or just kind of a recycler bot like we have built here, and then you may decide to go with one or the other. But if you're going to be picking up blocks, you kind of have to go with large receivers at this point, but down the road that might change. Now, beyond that, I did put a little GSO SCU down here, and the reason behind that is these large receivers, they will pick up all blocks, including Geocore, Venture, GSO, and the new corporation Hawkeye. However, in the game at the moment, there is no recipe for a lot of those. About 75% of those are not with recipes unless you go into the R&D. So when you come in here and try to scrap them, it will do absolutely nothing, and these things will get bogged down. That will create some lag for your computer. You'll also be able to not take those off very efficiently. I have figured out a best way to do that is just to put down an SCU. The SCU will suck everything next to it, including stuff on the receivers, and store it for you. So anything that you can't take down naturally, this thing will do for you. The downside to it is these receivers do not, at the moment, cycle through the items that are on there. So if you do get a venture piece that doesn't have a recipe, and you have 4 blocks behind it that do have a recipe, those 4 blocks will not be recycled because that one is in the way. You have to remove that one, and the other ones will go through it. So this thing is going to work somewhat well, but not completely and totally efficient. Like I said, once they get all the recipes in the game, you won't have any of these little tiny minor hiccups that stop you from being able to get any further. Along the entire outside of the bot, I do have venture weapons, the venture hailfire rifles, which I really, really love, and I think they're very well balanced. I don't think they're too uber, I don't think they're too strong, but they do have their flaws. They are very slow to track the enemy, so if the enemy is incredibly fast, those things will barely be able to hit it, even if at all. Now on the bottom, I did use the venture 5-way steering hover pads. They, because this thing is heavy and is kind of cumbersome, it does help to turn it a whole bunch. I did use some of the venture wheels down here. You'll see the Springer wheels to kind of prop it up. And in the middle, I went ahead and went with some of the Hawkeye angled bike wheels just for a little bit of a different look. I thought that would be kind of cool. However, these things I have noticed, especially when the bot was brand new and it was very small and it was only like three blocks long, and these wheels took up the majority of it. These wheels tend to make your bot shimmy in one direction or the other, so it never stays quite still. Nowadays, with all the wheels that I have on here and the 5-way steering boosters, it doesn't move at all when it's sitting there, but it did before, and that was kind of causing some issues. Every time I was trying to build something, it was just slightly moving off to the side, which is fairly annoying. I think they will fix that at some point, but you know, it is a brand new corporation. They are going to be working on those little details here and there. I also did put a few wheels of these ones right here, these landing gears, just to kind of give that extra weight mobility right down the center. And I could put them on the outsides and things of that sort, but I figured I don't think we really need it on the outside. There's not a whole lot of weight there. Most of the weight is on the center, and we're just going to go out and see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into, but majority of it, I want to pick up as many pieces of this stuff as possible. We'll take it back with us, and you know, like I said, we can store it in the SCU, or we can recycle it and make a little bit of money off of it. But either way, this is a bot that's just going to go in there and pick stuff up just to clear the battlefield. The last last like 10 or 15 episodes, we have, oh no, okay, well, it did change my my controls yet again. So let's go in here and change it back to what I want, and we'll see if we can fire at these guys. There we go. We are firing at these. Now, not nearly as uber as the those rockets that we had before, and you can see he's trying to figure out where my weakest side is. Does he attack me from the front? Does he attack me from the back? He doesn't know just yet. But the back is fairly defended. But these things, oh yeah, look at that. We are destroying some stuff right there, some explosions. And you'll see that some of the stuff that we're picking up is actually getting damaged as well. That's because the weapons are firing backwards. They actually track the enemy fairly decently, even from the front. And that means you get more firepower, but it also means that you may damage some of the stuff that's on your bot if it's in the way. Now, you know, not normally is that going to be an issue. You're going to be more concerned about destroying the enemy than you are about saving the blocks that are in here. But if your mission is to make money, then that may not be something you really want to do. And that is the wrong way to go. I kind of want to go out there because there's fights, but if I get close to that bot over there, you're going to see more and more lag as we do. So I guess we'll kill these guys, and then we'll back up and go the other way. Anytime you have a lot of blocks on the map, it has to render all those. So if your computer is not state-of-the-art, every single block that you render is going to be just a little bit more, you know, maintenance on your computer to be able to handle that. Plus, you got to take into account that while you're recording, you're using a little bit more of that power. So I hope you guys don't mind too much the lag that we're getting right here. In fact, you guys can't really see what's going on right there. Not much of that guy survived, and he was still exploding when we got in there. Ooh, yes, all refined car. I guess he was trying to do the exact same thing we were, but he doesn't even have any wheels, so it's not going anywhere at all. But you did get some base pieces out of it, and this one actually put a lot of lights on it. I do like that, although he put his cab directly on the top. Oh no, you weren't supposed to destroy that base. Well, you know, I'll definitely get these pieces here, and most of these pieces over here on this side can be recycled. GSO in the game right now, I would say about 80% of the blocks that are in the game for GSO have pieces that can be recycled. So any GSO ones you see, you should be safe to go ahead and snag. Now you can see they can only carry so much, which is why they're not carrying any more right now. But you can see right down the center, they are refining that stuff. Now I did go ahead and put down a little piece right here that will allow you to filter out. It's a GSO filter conveyor piece, and you can tell it exactly what you want to filter. And right now, all I'm letting through on mine is refined items. Something that I've noticed on this as you watch it here, guys, is as it makes the refined piece, sometimes it actually gives you the finished component. Other times it gives you the raw component. Sometimes it gives you a refined piece. And if it's giving you the refined piece, you can't refine it anymore, which means it's just going to get stuck. So you need to make sure. In fact, we must have lost a couple pieces here in the center when we were taking some damage. So let me go ahead and replace those, because I know I had those there. Where are you at? A little bit further down, maybe? Do I not have any left? Huh. I can't believe I don't have any left. No conveyor pieces? That is strange. I could have swore I had a whole bunch of those, But I do have one of these, so let's go ahead and put that down, and we will buy some real quick because they're not that much. And you can see my bot is kind of shimming in one direction or the other, which is unfortunate because I don't really want that to happen, but we can handle that. Let's see if we can snag some of these. Actually, you know what it is? I think that they popped off, and then this thing immediately picked them up. There's some right in there, and there was a few other ones in there as well, maybe from my base, or maybe from the base we picked up. But there we go. Now the center is working, and now all these ones don't have to kind of just pile up there, and they will go through. But if you run into stuff like this, especially this side over here, has tons and tons of stuff that won't be able to be recycled. I can go ahead and put my SCU down. I'll show you guys exactly how this is supposed to work. It will pull those off. Man, I am definitely being pushed over, and I am on a hill, so it does make sense that I would slowly slide off of it, but I think it's more to do with the wheels that are down there in the center. There we go. So it's pulling those off. It is lagging a little bit right there. Hopefully, there it goes. It's not going to last too much longer. There is a wheel right here. Did that get attached or just kind of sitting right there? I think it was just sitting right there. It's going to get pulled off here in a second. So that side is clear. It's pulling a little bit more from the other side, causing some issues. So we won't keep it down forever. There we go. We'll put that back. All those pieces kind of pop back into place, and we should be able to get close enough to one of these things to start picking these guys up. There we go. And I can put this thing right here in the middle of the base, so if we ever need to use it again, we will be able to plop that down. But yeah, this is pretty cool. You can see my money is going up. So if you do a combination of this, you don't always have to, dedicate an entire bot to one design. It doesn't always have to be a filter bot. It doesn't always have to be... Actually, here we go. Little dude right there, and he's standing right next to a vent. That's something I haven't got to play around with yet, so I'm going to see if I can put that down and see if it actually creates energy. URC is taking damage where I have several of them, so actually that looks like it right there. I think that is an enemy attacking my base, so let's get over here, take this guy on. Oh, you can see all the stuff popping out of it. So this guy is a little butthead. He came over here when I wasn't looking and got me. There you go. You were dead, my friend. We'll get close to this thing, and it will go ahead and suck those things right off of me. And as I get close, it should pick up the rest of this stuff. There we go. Now, I will move this closer by. I think within the range of what we have for these shields will work fairly well. And there's another one right here. We'll just put on top. Oh, cool. So it can be stuck on top of that and still be anchored down. Now, I am going to let this to kind of charge back up. You can see you can get close to one of these cellars, and all your stuff will get pulled off as well. So if you don't have one of those SCUs just yet, and you're close to one of these things, that is definitely a method you can take. Now, to be honest, I didn't put a lot of batteries on here, and the batteries I did put are the Venture Bot pieces. So trying to go full bore into Venture, just give them a shot. I know we've been kind of neglecting them quite a bit lately, but I did want to experiment with that. So let's see. We will do... It's not in here, is it? I guess power blocks is where I would imagine it is. Maybe we don't actually have any, so let me just go ahead and buy one, because I know we had some at some point, but I don't know if we ever stored any. So let's see. Power blocks should be in here. There we go. Geothermal. Let's snag that, and we will put that down right over this air vent, this little hot pocket. Here we go. See if that... Oh, yeah, look at that. It is turning, and now there is just a little bit of gas coming out of that. Let's go ahead and put down... I actually take that off. We'll put some batteries on here. There we go. It won't let me because it's too far down. Let's do a row of regular batteries right there, and then we can throw some of the bigger ones here on the top, because I think this thing is going to create a lot of energy. So let's watch that for a second. Let's actually see how fast that charges up. Considering, the solar reactors will charge this thing up really fast, but you need, about 4 or 5 is what I normally go with, but that's a lot, and this one is only 1, but you got to remember the size of it. So you could probably fit, let's see, how many did we put down here? 1, 2, 3, so it's 3 wide, and it's probably about 3 by 3. So you could fit about 9 in there. That would be a lot of solar reactors. I don't know if this is charging it up as fast, but I do like the concept. Plus, this charges it up at night. So we got an infinite supply of energy over here in this one little area. During the day, we have the solar reactors, and at night, we have this thing to give us energy. So all we got to do is make sure we protect it. I usually like to go with at least 2 of the repair bubbles on here. I like to go a little overboard with those because if it's getting attacked at night, yeah, the last thing you want is for it to find that one little itty bitty tiny spot where it's not quite covered and just start blowing things away. Because it will spin around the entire thing until it finds that one little area that you just did not protect as well as you should have. And yeah, it sucks to come back and find like your base completely destroyed, but it happens. So this guy is doing fairly well. These bots are spawning around me just because this is where I'm at. And you can see all this stuff is flying off the back because I don't have the venture receivers on there. Venture receivers would be able to hold it just fine without any of that stuff flying off. But I didn't think we'd be getting that much speed, to be honest. I thought this thing would go a little slower just because of all the weight. But I guess he wants to be in the back of me, so I'll let him get back there and just get wrecked. There we go. Okay, so the weapons here on this guy, they do tend to target the cab more than anything else. So if you're having problems, especially if you're using big weapons like the megaton cannons or those heat seeker missiles, those things, they do target the cab, I think, a little bit more than anything else. But they're such massive explosions that if there's any type of batteries or fuel tanks on them, they're gonna ignite those. So if you're trying to get those intact, especially if you're at the point where you haven't leveled up quite enough yet, and there's a few pieces on bots you're seeing quite regularly, but you're not able to build them yourself, you can build up a nice supply of those and actually use them. And there's one of my SCUs out there actually taking damage, so we're going to forget this guy, and we're going to come out here. I did kind of put these things all over the place, and I probably shouldn't have, because, yeah, they're very vulnerable, especially as these things start spawning. There you go, my friend. You are dead. Actually, now I need to move up a little bit just so it can hit him. Let's see. Okay, so every time it gets hit, you'll see the little green lines underneath it actually have to go back up. So it does take a few seconds for that to happen. Oh, there we go. So not very efficient against the Geocore, but we already knew that. Geocore are beast, and they can pick up and take a lot of damage. They also weigh a lot, so if you're not trying to go with that heavy damage, maybe not the best method to go with Geocore. If you're trying to find something in the middle, Hawkeye actually is really, really good. It does take a decent amount of damage, but at the same time, it does seem to weigh a little bit more than the GSO one. So again, you're gonna have to deal with that weight limit in one way or another. Now this SCU right over here does not pick up these refined items. Unfortunately, some of them are getting stuck on top of the receivers, and when that happens, there's no way to get those things to take off except to drag them over yourself. Now, if you had small receivers, I think you could probably have it where they might pull those off if these large receivers weren't there. But considering the way this is set up, if it gets to the point like this where they're stacked on here, you might have to take a minute and just remove them all. Or I guess what you could do is have it where maybe you have one that's not connected to any of these recyclers. That's what I was saying earlier, is if you could have the conveyors in between these receivers and the recyclers, you could have a way to filter these off without having to do it manually. But until you can do that, there's nothing that you can do to fix that, as far as I know. If you guys have a better method, a design where maybe I can throw in another row and try to get these things off naturally, let me know. I'm always open to trying new ideas out. But from my experience of messing with bases, like I said, I think the bases for them are more of a secondary concern. I think combat is of a primary concern for them. And I can't really blame them. The majority of the game is going to be combat related. You're going to be going out there trying to collect bot pieces, trying to level up your corporation thing, going through the storyline of the game itself. And, coming in here and doing the base things, yeah, it's really cool. And it will kind of help you skip past getting some of the corporation levels themselves. Because if you can make the piece, I don't think you actually have to have the corporation level to buy the piece. So you can make it early on, get that really, really cool bot going if you know the recipe and you know where to get those pieces. And like I said, you can get a lot of the refined stuff just from regular blocks. I mean, you can see just how many we're getting, and some of them are not the norm. You'll see some titanium in there. You'll see some of the plumbai ore. You'll see all sorts of stuff, rubber and fuel blocks, and trees are some of the most common ones in the game. But they've actually started, for the new version that they're going to be releasing here in a bit, That one actually uses trees for some of the recipes. You're actually using wood, you're actually using rubber. Right now, there's not a lot of recipes that call for that, but it's really cool that they're kind of integrating that into the game, because that has been sorely lacking for a while. And yeah, they're doing some work on it. You actually see it on the main page when you first start. They talk about it. They're like, yeah, we realize we haven't put out an update in a while, but we are not slacking, guys. We are working on it, and this is what's going to be coming here in the future. Remember, I think the majority of the reason these things are flying over to the large receivers is because as we move through the map, what's ended up actually happening is these things fly off of these conveyor belts and land back over here on the ground. And this thing is like just producing endless supplies of whatever these resources are right here. And this one, did I lose another conveyor? I think I lost another conveyor somehow. Those things are just being blown up non-stop. Let's see, do we have any other ones? We have 2 more left, so let's put that one right back there and get that going again. I think I need to put a shield or something smack right dab in the middle just to protect that. And I was waiting for all this stuff to kind of go through so I could move a little bit and not worry about it, pulling that stuff off again. Well, in fact, if we start moving again, you'll be able to see, I think, what was happening right there. Yeah, see, look at that. All of that stuff starts flowing back into the outside and kind of ruins it for us. So we'll have to remove all those and put them all back again. But I'm going to leave this over here. That's why I kind of brought it back. Let's actually just toss it down. It will get picked up by one of those dudes. I guess if we go in reverse, it might actually fix these. So we wouldn't have to do them all one by one. But I actually don't mind doing it just to kind of show you the flaws of some of the systems that are on here. Now, I did do this a long time ago when the game first came out. They did a patch where the filters, the conveyors, and all that other stuff, they worked fine. They could move the blocks, and I never saw a problem with it. I'm not sure why they changed it. So the fact that they worked and they changed it kind of leads me to believe that maybe they don't want you to use the conveyors for regular block pieces. But somebody else told me that's not true. They have every intention of letting you do that. So again, if you guys know for sure, if they've said on a forum, or maybe you've watched a video or something along those lines, and this thing's just creating more and more, the same thing on this side, it's just creating more and more. That, what is going on there? Are they bugged? I think they might be bugged. I think that we found some sort of weird infinite money maker by building this. If you guys were watching the video and you could tell what was going on there, like what did we create on this thing to get that to do it and just continuously make more and more money? Now, it's not making a lot. Definitely only creating like 11 or something for each one of those little, blocks that we're selling. But 11 forever and then just walking away from the game. There was another way to make infinite money as well, but that requires you to be at the computer and constantly dragging the block over here onto the seller where it would get stuck. In fact, I can show you that one real quick. I hate kind of doing that one because it does feel like a cheat, whereas if you get this one, get one of these big pieces, drop it on the ground, what ends up happening is it's too big to sell to actually fit through the door. So it tries to get it through there. The computer recognizes that it got it through it, and then you'll see the money actually appear. Boom, you got 2,500 for it. And when it lets go of it, you can actually do it again. So you don't have to wait for the money to appear. Boom, it's let go. I can do it again and again and again and again, and you'll see the money goes through. And if I remove it again, you'll see another set of money go through because I did it twice. So yeah, there's the amount of money that you're going to be making off of doing it that way. This one, however, is just there. It just continues to go. So you could leave and come back an hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later. And of course, like I said, you're only making 11. But if you could do that for every single one of the recyclers, like right now, only one of them is doing it on each side, I believe. I think it's just one. It could be more. Oh, actually, it is more. It's this one over here on this side, on the right-hand side, GSO scrapper in the very front, this GSO scrapper here in the middle, and then this GSO scrapper over here in the middle. So whatever happened to those three caused it to glitch out in such a way that we're getting 11 to 15 for each one of those items in an infinite cycle. Huh. I've never seen that glitch before. I don't know if I could ever reproduce that. That's, I will upload this bot, guys, and you could try it out for yourself. All you got to do is go to Twitter, and I believe you download it, or if you open your game up to Twitter, occasionally these bots will make their way into the game that you're not going to be able to play the bot. You'll be able to destroy it and get the pieces and recreate it yourself. But I believe you can go up there, you can get the bot's design, and then put it into the game itself. If you ever save a design yourself, go into your files and you'll see where it saved it. That is where you'll import the other file to as well. So it's going to be in a different place for everybody. I know people use Steam, some people don't. Steam has a tendency to throw things around in different parts of the computer that I couldn't tell you exactly where it's going to be on yours. If you're using Windows 10, Windows 7, or Windows 8, somewhere around there, it's going to be different places all over the place. So yeah, just kind of do a search for it and see if you can find it. It's going to be under the name of whatever you named your bot. So if you name it Mr. Hanky, just do a search on your computer for Mr. Hanky. Hopefully that's, I don't know, maybe that's the only file you have labeled as Mr. Hanky, and you'll be able to find it a lot easier that way. But that's all you have to do, guys. It's not too difficult. That's kind of interesting. We're not going to stay here forever and look at that, but I did kind of want to show that off, considering we found something that didn't know even existed, a little bug, and now we are going to go out and see if we can get some more gear a little bit further out. I mean, this thing doesn't have a lot of battery, so it does kind of have to stay semi-close. But look at this area, guys. This area was filthy with blocks earlier because of that guy that we were using before, that robot. Now seems to be pretty clear. Like we've cleaned up the mess that was this area, and we did it fairly quickly. In fact, we took a lot of time just kind of sitting around looking at the way things worked on our bot. So we probably could have cleaned up that entire area in like 5 minutes, maybe even less than that, if we were going like hardcore and we knew what we were doing. So we're gonna kill these guys off, and he's actually using some shotguns. No shotguns on that. It looks like 3-pounders. I know it said shotgun there for a second on there, but those are definitely 3-pounders. I don't see any of the other ones. Now, not a lot of stuff survived on that one. Oh, that guy does not... Boomfish, 756. He doesn't want to be anywhere near me. That dude actually has some guts right there, some brains. He's like, I'm going to go pretty far away from you. You found an enemy base. Well, it's going to attack the enemy base regardless. You cannot control what these things go after. That's another one of the downsides to the Venture Hailfire rifles. If you're trying to attack, say, 3 bots at the same time, you cannot tell it which one to attack. In fact, I think, do we own that base now? No, we don't own that base. He was just attacking me through that base at the exact same moment. Come on. Oh, he's exploding. Taking some damage right there. Woo! Yeah, we took a lot of damage, actually, but our shields did hold, and I don't think we took any actual, blown up pieces on that fight right there. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of of our resources kind of in the way again. But what we can do is we can get close to one of these things and see if it pulls it off of it for us. We might be able to get this thing to snag them if they're strong enough. Now let's see, what does it have over here on it? It does have, yeah, it does have one of those pieces. Who's attacking? Is there somebody over there? I heard some fighting going on, but that's my base, I believe, right? Yeah, it's totally my... No, it's not. It shows up as red. I don't have an actual radar on this bot. Another one of those things that I tend to forget when I build brand new techs, just because I've gotten so used to using them that, once you put it on there, you never really have to mess with it again. You kind of put it someplace out of the way where you're not really ever going to see it again. Wow, look at all these resources, guys. These things are worth a fortune. So we're going to pick up all of this if we can. Get some of this money here. Now, if you're not actually firing at an enemy, they do tend to just fire straight, so you can still use them to take out some of these resources. Now, these resources are really expensive, some of the best ones in the game to harvest, but you got to keep in mind, though, guys, that if you want to keep all these intact, you might want to use a drill. Drills do not destroy resources, weapons do. So if your weapons hit these blocks too often, they are going to get destroyed. And this side over here is completely and totally full. In fact, it won't pick up anything else, even though I wish it could. Dang it, that sucks. All right, let's back this up. Let's see, is this my base yet? It is not. Is there another bot around here? There are a couple bots over here still. Huh. There we go. Now it's my base. Let's see. Can we get it to actually pick anything on my bot out? We might have to put down some receivers. Let's actually take a look at this. Let's see if I can get some receivers on this and pull off some of those resources. A GSO resource receiver. Let's do a few right there, and we'll get close enough to it to see if that actually does anything. Now, I would love to see them integrate the silos in a way that would allow me to use this kind of design, even if the other pieces aren't. Ah, there we go. That's how you do it. So they do work. I wonder if they work inside as well, inside your own base. Let me see, if I put them in here, where would I want them to go? I would need, because they're refined resources, so I do not want them someplace where they're going to get stuck. So what I could do is I could do GSO receivers right here and here and here. Same thing on this side. And these will only pick up resources. They won't pick up anything else. Doesn't seem like they're snagging them though. This side definitely is. And you can see some of them are inside the silo there. There we go. We got a few more there. Let's back this thing up a little bit on this end. There we go. Take all those off. Let's do this side as well. We'll get this side done. Oh, and look at that. It's actually taking some of my other... they're transferring back and forth, it seems like. They don't know which one should have the priority. But as far as the resources go, they got that one down. Just the blocks seem to be having some issues. Come on. Let's back it up a little bit more. Right. Not quite close. There we go. So it pulled everything on that one. All right, we got that. Now let's see. We need to put down the SCU. It is recycling. No, it's recycling most of these. We should be fine. And let's see. Is it going through? No. There are a few pieces that it won't do, like these wheels right here. So even these Geocore wheels do not. The GSO riser wheels. They are a newer piece, so that would explain why they don't have a recipe just yet. We do have some other ones in here. Let's drag these off and pull these down here, just to make sure that it's not the blocks that are getting in the way. I want to see if these actually have a recipe or not. Boosters apparently do not have a recipe. That sucks. Okay, well, boosters have been in the game for a while, so for them not to have a recipe, that is unfortunate. Let's see, what about this guy? Nope, those boosters don't have a recipe either, although I can imagine you getting some really, really good stuff out of that. Actually, it looked like that booster just got recycled, so I wonder why it's not getting recycled over here. So that weapon is gone. The Venture Hailfire rifles, they obviously do not have recipes yet in the game. They do have them in the R&D, so if you want to check that out, guys, I did a video on that one, and it was pretty cool to see where they're going to be going with it. But guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. I do want to thank you all for watching. On the next episode, we're going to be making this guy a lot bigger, and we're going to be expanding him so that not only does he recycle things, instead of just selling them, we're going to try our hand at creating items with all those pieces, all those refined items that we're getting. And you can see fairly easy to control this once you know what you're doing, and it's going to get even easier in the future. So definitely stay tuned for that. As always, guys, I'm AC Gamer, and I will definitely catch you next time. Hey guys, and welcome to the disembodied voice of AC Gamer. We are definitely going to be doing a lot more series in the future, but here are a few of them that you guys might find interesting. Of course, you're more than welcome to check them out. I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. It's definitely the indicator that I use to tell if you guys want to see more videos like that, of that particular game style, of that series in the long run. So when you guys leave comments down, it helps me decide whether we should keep doing it, as well as whether you want to see games like that in the future. And here are a few of them right here. I kind of picked out a few of different genres. We will be doing spotlights for other YouTubers in the future, so if you want to get a little shout out, definitely let me know. If you group with me, chances are you will get a shout out in here eventually. But for now, these are just 4 series that I have that I feel like could use a little bit more attention, and that you guys might actually enjoy as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will definitely catch you all next time.